Bonjour, c'est Claire à French in the Midlands. Today's lesson is about the verbs êtres, to be, and avoir, to have, in the present tense, how they change with each person, and at the end, I'll give you some exercises to check your understanding of the lesson. You've got to bear in mind that êtres and avoir are called irregular verbs. As the name suggests, they're called irregular because they don't follow a set pattern. They change with each person. Let's start with êtres, which means to be. We are looking at singular, which is for one person at the moment. For instance, je suis means I am. So the je is the I, okay? Je suis, I am, and the suis is am. You see, look at it already. In French, like in English, it bears no resemblance with its infinitive, être and to be. That's called the infinitive with the to in front. Je suis doesn't bear any resemblance to être. I am doesn't bear any resemblance to be. So, as in French, in English, to be is irregular. Tu es is the familiar form of you are when you talk to one person you know very well. Il est is he is. And notice there's a T there. We never say est. It's est. If you say est, I'm hearing east. It's not the same word. Be careful. Elle est, she is. On est. Now that's interesting because it can mean two things. It can mean one is, as in someone is. Or it's the familiar form of we are, and this is what people don't learn in school. They learn nous sommes, but nobody ever says nous sommes unless you're the president and you make a speech, okay? Or you want to show your fellow citizens you're slightly above them, in which case you will use nous sommes, but everybody uses on est to means we are. Let's have a look at the plural forms. Plural means more than one person. Nous sommes, we are. That's the formal we. That's the one you would write. You would say on, but you would write nous. It's interesting. Vous êtes is you are, but it's the formal you are. When you don't know someone very well, you will address them as you. So it can be for one person, but it's also the plural you when there's more than one person. You're addressing the group. You're saying all of you. That's still vous êtes. Ils sont is they are masculine. That means a group of men. Could be just two. Okay, that's still ils, but it's just men. And elles sont is they are feminine. It's a group of women. So the natural question is, what happens when there's a mixed group? Well, in that case, you default back to the masculine. So you would say ils. Notice I didn't pronounce the S. I didn't say ils sont or elles sont. No, it's ils sont, elles sont. Normally, a final S is never pronounced. The reason I pronounced it in vous êtes is because you link with the next word, and that's why I've underlined that bit. It's the linking. You had it earlier with on est. We don't say on est. We don't like separating words when we speak French, so we just blend them into each other whenever we can. And it works best when you've got a consonant, like an S, and the next word begins with a vowel, as in vous êtes. Now, if you need more detailed explanations and complete verb tables about the main regular and irregular verbs in the main tenses, you need to get my verbs and tenses ebook at the link below, and that's in the description. Now let's have a look at avoir, which is to have. Again, let's start with the singular. J'ai, which is I have. Here we can't say je ai because you'd have the clash of two vowels, and we don't like that. So that's why the E disappears and you get an apostrophe. And as every time you get an apostrophe in French, you do not separate the apostrophe from the next word. So you don't say je ai, you say j'ai. Tu as, which is the familiar you have. See, you don't say the S there. Il a, he has. Easy, this one, it's just one letter. Elle a, she has. On a, again you link here, which is either the familiar we have or one has. Here's the plural forms. Nous avons is the we have, it's the formal we. Notice we link here, nous avons. Again, you got an S at the end of nous, and the next word starts with a, so it makes sense to link. Vous avez, you have, formal you or plural you, like we explained before. Ils ont, they have, in the masculine. Again, you link. Elles ont, they have, in the feminine. And again, another link. Now be very careful because they are was ils sont with a hard S. This is ils ont. It's the linked S, so it's like a Z. It's a very, very slight difference, but it's massive when you hear it. It's a massive difference for a French person anyway. And if you've understood the lesson, let's move on to the exercises. I'll give you some sentences with êtres or avoir missing, and you've got to first of all make sense of the sentence and decide which one you need and in which form. The first one is je something dans la cuisine. I something in the kitchen. So what do you think here? I am or I have? That's right, it's I am in the kitchen. Je suis dans la cuisine. Second example. Le facteur, something, une lettre pour moi. The postman, something, a letter for me. So would you say the postman is a letter for me, or the postman has a letter for me? I think has is the best one, and that would be he has. It's the a. Le facteur a une lettre pour moi. Number 3. Les voisins, something, 3 chiens. The neighbors, something, 3 dogs. So the neighbors have or the neighbors are? Have is the best, and the neighbors is a they, isn't it? It's ils with an S. We don't know if it could be men or women, but we've got to default back to ils when we don't know. So les voisins ont 3 chiens. Next sentence. You, something, a large house. Tu, something, une grande maison. Would you say you have or you are? It'd be you have. Tu as une grande maison. It's the familiar you. Tu as. Next one. Vous, something, là. You, something, there. So literally, would you say you are there or you have there? So you are there. So with vous, remember the form of are? Vous êtes là. This is how we say, are you there? Only we don't like switching the question around, the words around in a question in French. So we say, are you there? You are there, literally like a statement. But as long as your voice goes up at the end, it's fine. It's a question. Next one. There's a little trap in this one. That's why I put the verb to use in brackets. Elle, something, faim. She, something, hungry. Of course, British people would jump on it saying she is hungry. Except it doesn't work like that in French. Because in French is she has hunger. That's why I put to have in brackets. So what is she has? Elle a faim. Now this one is a negative sentence. It doesn't matter, it doesn't affect the fact you need être or avoir in there. On ne pas dans le jardin. We, something not in the garden. So we have not or we are not. We are not, obviously, which is, it's using the familiar we though, the on, not the nous. So you need to say on n'est pas dans le jardin. It's like saying one is not in the garden, except the one in English is very posh. It's like the sort of thing the Queen would say. In French, it's the opposite. It's actually the familiar we. Next one. Nous, something à la maison. We, something at home. We have at home or we are at home. I think it's we are at home. And with nous, it was the long one. Nous sommes à la maison. It's the formal we. Next one. Katia et Céline, something au supermarché. Katia and Céline, something at the supermarket. Or in the supermarket. So what do you think? They are or they have at the supermarket? I think it sounds better to say they are. And remember, there's two people, so it's a they. Two girls. So if you look at the form for elles with an S, it's sont. Katia et Céline sont au supermarché. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. À bientôt.